And a good Monday afternoon on Fox 35 Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Jamie King, joined by Fox 35 Storm Team Meteorologist Allison Gargaro. And Al, we've got ourselves a bit of a situation here.
That's exactly right. Subtropical Storm Nicole did form in the Atlantic at 4 o'clock this morning Eastern Standard Time. And we have now had several updates on this. Right now, 45 mile per hour sustained winds. And take a look at this track. The path that Nicole is going to be taking will be across the Atlantic, through the Bahamas, through Florida, and then likely just to the north as we head a little bit closer and closer to your weekend. And
forecast to become a hurricane, Allison, over the northwestern Bahamas, tracking toward the southeastern Florida coastline. So we've got our eyes on that. There's likely going to be some impacts as we see it now, as we look very broad impacts expanding out from that center of circulation. Allison, here's a look at the areas to the north and south. We want to make it clear as to the area affected. Anywhere within the cone, right, is fair game, but that center line here, which you never focus on, it does split between Fort Pierce and roughly around Broward County, down near Lauderdale and Coral Springs on that westerly or northwesterly track longer term.
That's exactly right. And we've been watching the models come down all morning long, and a bit earlier, it was further to the north. So we are seeing it slowly push off to the south. Again, there's only been a few advisories, but really something that we are watching for you here closely. And we are in East Central Florida. So maybe you live here. You were planning on traveling to Orlando this week, heading out to the theme parks, the beaches, or you have family or friends. Well, right now we are looking at some tropical storm watches as well as a hurricane watch in Brevard County that does include Cocoa Beach for reference.
It does. And if you're planning on coming to the theme parks, I'll tell you, the weather is just going to get downright crummy around here as we get to overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. Thursday could be an issue on Friday, depending on the forward speed and motion ultimately of Nicole. But these are tropical storm watches for the pink shaded counties and communities. And then we've got our hurricane watch for all of Brevard County there, Titusville and Mims down the Rockledge into the southern Space Coast. And possibly we've seen some of the new modeling, Allison, potentially indicating that some of the action could actually move a little bit more to the south. So we don't want to jump the gun on that yet, but there could be some rapid developments as we go through the next day or so.
That's exactly right. And we talk about this being a coastal event. Our East Coast going to be getting hit hard with high seas. We're going to be looking at a storm surge watch. That's our entire East Coast. And we could be seeing anywhere from 3 to 5 foot seas and potentially even higher there. Yeah,
that's that storm surge watch there at that rise of water at 3 to 5 feet. So saltwater inundation, we factor in also, we've got a full moon cycle at this time. And so the high tides tend to naturally be a little bit higher, but you put this displacement of water on top of that rushing toward the shoreline. And we've got some coastal flooding issues that I believe are going to be rather impactful this go around.
That's exactly right. So if you live along the coast, or like we mentioned, you are vacationing, really something that you need to prepare for now. We want to make sure that everybody is getting those sandbags and ready to go for Nicole as it's slowly inching closer and closer to the east coast of Florida. But something interesting is that the GFS and Euro are right on track with each other in the forecast modeling, not only through the Bahamas, but also across the Florida peninsula here.
Yeah, and through the Big Bend area. Now, earlier this morning, Allison, and still doing it here, the Euro a little bit faster as the cold front moves in. And boy, let me tell you, friends, when that cold front comes through, as we get to late Friday night to Saturday and Sunday, boy, it is going to be beautiful for the weekend. But some rough stuff lies ahead. We got to get through the thick of it before we get to some really sweet weather for next weekend with dropping temperatures. Now, taking a look here, Allison, I love this graphic. It really does a great job depicting that canopy of impactful winds, and that is broad, and I think a testament to the fact that this is a subtropical storm for now, which normally has the impacts going far and very wide of that center of circulation.
Yeah, and we're seeing that right here.
Exactly, and that might be changing, though, as we see a Cat 1 status, a pure tropical system, a Category 1 hurricane, and those winds, that's why we've got these hurricane watches up for Brevard County, down across Indian River County, and possibly inland. If this verifies, this shows some substantial wind coming ashore.
If that holds, that's exactly right. And we always talk about the northeastern quadrant of the storm. So if you cut the storm in half here and again in half this way, this is the area likely going to be seeing some big impacts. And that's exactly what we are seeing, not only with the wind fields, but also our exclusive Fox model. Now, you're only going to see this model here at Fox 35 or at Fox Weather. So it's a really great tool in our toolbox that we can help forecast some of those very strong winds when you could see start ramping up as the system moves towards the Bahamas by Wednesday afternoon.
And you see there that mark there, 75-mile-per-hour winds. So it may in fact now become a hurricane here as it crosses through the west end of Grand Bahama and then draws ashore. We affectionately call this, as Floridians, the Treasure Coast, and that includes the beautiful towns of Port St. Lucie and Stewart and Fort Pierce, St. Lucie Inlet. So that's an area there that has sustained some pretty impactful blows, so to speak, over the years. It's some big-time storms, and this one may be loading up as well. Right now, again, forecast to remain Category 1 longer term, at least leaving the Bahamas, spawning into that, and then moving ashore as we get John into Thursday, Allison. But by Friday, we see a move back into the northeastern Gulf of Mexico.
That's exactly right. And we have some counties in the northwestern portion of our county, so up through the Big Bend region here. And as the system does make its way out over the Gulf of Mexico, we could be seeing some impacts in those areas. So something important that we just want to make sure everybody is staying aware for when we could be seeing some of the worst of the weather in your neighborhood.
Exactly. Now, Wednesday into Thursday, we would talk county by county. I think it's imperative that everybody know what impacts are going to be coming to your town. And by the way, now is the time to begin preparations. You have yet to do so. Have these wrapped up no later by tomorrow evening, I would say, right, as those conditions go downhill, because they're going to start in the coastal areas and then gradually leach westbound of I-95. So, Allison, here's a look at Brevard County. Hurricane conditions are possible as we get into the day on Wednesday night into Thursday. So we talk about, again, gusts to 60, but with hurricane conditions possible with these, we can get into that 74+ mile-per-hour range.
Yeah, rather easily, too, if, again, the forecast does verify for what we are seeing right now. And this is something that we will continue to update you on when we do get those new advisories and new track and intensity does come out. As for rainfall, 2 to 3 inches possible
there. And we may, depending on the modeling coming in, Allison, we may have to increase that to about the 4 to 6 foot, or 4 to 6 inch range, rather. 4 to 6 feet, we could do it out, but 4 to 6 inches. So we'll have our eyes on that. Seminole County, Allison, Oviedo, Longwood, Lake Mary, Sanford, beautiful county, lots to do out there. As if you like, certainly the natural approach to life, a lot of great hiking and things like that. But there too, we'll begin to see the increase in winds with gusts of 40 again by Wednesday into Thursday. Rainfall there at 1 to 3 inches. Also Lake County, Allison, one of our great interior counties. Yeah,
so moving a little bit to the west, we're going to be seeing those gusts up to about 25 miles per hour. And a similar timing Wednesday afternoon into the evening throughout the day on Thursday, and then rainfall 1 to 3 inches there. But like Jamie said, likely could be increasing those totals as we get those new model runs in.
Now, Volusia County, real speedy winds likely to develop, especially on the Volusia County coast, right? Because we don't have as much friction over the water, so that wind really comes ripping on through. So gusts to 50 there, again, Wednesday into Thursday. All this dependent on the current forecast track, right? Things change. This whole forecast is going to change, but we need you all in Volusia County also to prepare for the very gusty winds, what I call damaging winds, the risk of a few isolated tornadoes pretty much area wide. And of course, Volusia was one of the harder hit counties when Ian moved on through. So we are certainly honing in on that area. If you did sustain damage during Ian, our sentiment is with you, but I need you to know that there's going to be a lot of stuff blowing around likely down there in Volusia County as these winds increase. They're still cleaning up. A lot of roofs are tarped in Volusia County still.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And winds could increase as early as tomorrow afternoon. What we are showing you here, we will be seeing some of the greatest impacts, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we won't see some a bit before as well as a bit after. So in Orange County, Wednesday through Thursday, sustained winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Those gusts up to 45 plus possible. And as we continue to move into our northwestern viewing area, take a look at the time. We pushed it back just a bit. That's because Nicole making its way across the peninsula and then kicking back out into the Gulf of Mexico, meaning a later bit of approach on some of these impacts. Wind gusts 40 plus miles per hour likely, as well as the 1 to 3 inch in the rainfall category.
And that'll be interesting once we start to see Nicole turn, how close we get to the Nature Coast, as it's known there. For our Fox 51 viewers out that way, Dixie, Levy County, very similar outlook. And lastly, we want to touch on Marion County, seeing 25 to 40 on the winds, gusts to 50 plus, all dependent on this track with Nicole. That is Wednesday p.m. all the way into Friday. Again, bottom line, the impacts are going to spread far and wide from that center of circulation. This is a subtropical tropical system, although not much differential, right, between subtropical and purely tropical. Allison, the effects remain the same. We talk wind, we talk rain.
And we talk about being prepared. Make sure that you charge your cell phone, tablets, and download the Fox 35 Storm Team weather app, because you can get the latest updates even if there are power outages in your area. We got your back.
Yes, we do. And want you to depend and trust the Fox 35 Storm Team. Updates to come, Central Florida. So keep it here. We promise, as always, to keep you at home up to date. Take care.